European Union, it's about put all the effort together and try to do something good.
I think that Europe will need to understand which is its place in the world. Like if you don't sort out how to become stronger, the other parts of the world will start to take your market, your power.
I think now Europe can be a model, and I wish that happened.
Velkommen til Vores Europa. Mit navn er Peter Laugesen.
Og jeg er Alena Askløf, og sammen har vi de seneste 6 år rejst Europa tyndt for at tale med unge europæere om deres liv og samfund.
I 5 film præsenterer vi jer for de 5 emner, der optager de unge europæere mest. Det gælder klima, økonomi, migration, identitet og EU's rolle i verden.
The EU's position in the world is clearly not an easy one at the moment, certainly if compared to, let's say, 10 years ago. EU is facing a lot of challenges in the Middle East. The United States doesn't seem very interested in that region any longer, so the EU finds itself more and more in a position where it has to take a lot of responsibility. The EU is the most important economic actor in the region, for many the most important trading partner. And so the EU can do a lot in terms of ensuring some sort of stable development in the region, but it will have to offer those countries something as well, which it so far has done very reluctantly. Well, that relationship between the EU and Russia has certainly become very tense over the years. I think it's quite remarkable that the EU has managed to stand as one and to stand up against Russia. At the same time, of course, the EU has also to make sure that it does not completely alienate Russia, I think, and isolate it further. Well, the EU's relationship with Africa is definitely one great challenge, which has been reflected in the refugee crisis of 2015. And I think what is important to note, for example, is that Africa's population between now and 2050 is going to double. Africa will need enormous infrastructure development, it will need economic development, it will need trade relations. And I think the EU must think through carefully what it can offer Africa in order for this development to be stable and peaceful. EU's relationship with the United States has certainly become more tense in the past year since Donald Trump has taken over the US administration. The United States have since quit a lot of international organizations. They have withdrawn from the Paris Agreement. The EU and the United States have been quite cross when it comes to the way they act in international affairs. On the one hand, the EU sees China as an opportunity, certainly as an economic opportunity, an important partner as well on many issues such as climate change and so on. But at the same time, China becomes increasingly a competitor for the European Union. China certainly becomes more and more influential through its investments and therefore also has a growing political influence. The European Union and China are promoting very different values at times. And certainly China does not share often the human rights or democratization agenda of the EU. There are unique historical experiences, I believe, have sort of pushed the EU to become a promoter of multilateralism, a promoter of regional integration, of free trade, of human rights and democracy to some extent. So yes, the EU has its ideals. At the same time, of course, there are a lot of areas where we can criticize the EU for being a fairly hypocritical foreign policy actor, for example, when it comes to international trade. it often seems to care very much about human rights in smaller countries where the EU has a lot of leverage. When it comes to dealing with bigger actors such as China, Russia and others, those human rights concerns do not seem to play such a big role anymore. So you can question to what extent the EU is really willing to push for human rights and democratization in a meaningful way.